Hello, and welcome to the 19th episode of LGBTQIA+, Heroes, Icons, Legends, and Events. This series of programs covers a wide variety of topics, such as the legends of men's sports, entertainers Laverne Cox and Freddie Mercury, and activist Marsha P. Johnson. Every year, from September 15th until October 15th, we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month. Today, we'll discuss the lives and legacies of important Latin trailblazers. Magdalena Carmen Frida Kahlo y Calderon was born on July 6, 1907, in Coyoacán, a suburb of Mexico City. She later claimed to have been born on July 7, 1910, the date of the beginning of the Mexican Revolution, because she wanted her story to mirror the birth of the new Mexican nation. Frida was the third of four daughters born to Guillermo and Matilda Kahlo. She was born at the Casa Azul, a brightly painted blue house that her father built for his family. Her father was a talented photographer who was commissioned by the Mexican government to take photos of historical buildings and landscapes all over Mexico. Frida learned a lot about Mexican history and architecture from his photographs. Her father was also a painter, and Frida loved to watch him use his paints and brushes. Frida was 6 years old when she was diagnosed with polio, a disease that affects the brain and spine and can cause paralysis. She remained in bed for 9 months, and her right leg was weakened by the disease. Frida was a good student. She learned to read and speak English and German as well as Spanish. Her parents sent her to the best high school in Mexico, the Escuela Nacional Preparatoria in Mexico City, where she was one of the few girls admitted. Her favorite classes were science and math, and she decided to study medicine. Frida met famous artist Diego Rivera when he came to the school to paint a mural. She didn't care that he was famous. She played so many pranks on him that she was expelled from school. Eventually, she was allowed to return to her studies. Frida and her boyfriend rode buses from the Casa Azul to Mexico City to attend school. On September 17, 1925, she was seated with her boyfriend in the back of the bus when it was hit by a streetcar. Frida was trapped inside. She was so severely injured that her doctors weren't sure that she would survive. Frida spent a month in the hospital in a full-body cast. When she returned home, she had to lie still in her bed, and she was bored. Her father suggested that she try painting to fill her time. Her parents installed a mirror above her bed and had a special easel made so she could paint self-portraits. She never returned to school. After she recovered, Frida saw Diego Rivera at one of the parties she attended with her friends and decided to show him her paintings. Diego was impressed by her talent. They fell in love and were married in 1929. Her painting, Frida and Diego Rivera, from 1931, is a wedding portrait showing him as the extraordinary painter and her as his doting wife. Their marriage was tumultuous. They both had many affairs. Her lovers included men and women. Their relationship was a source of great passion and pain for Frida. Her work was eclipsed by his great fame. They divorced in 1939 and then remarried in 1940. Frida's artwork explored topics previously unexplored by artists, such as miscarriage, sex, death, and gender inequality. Her surrealist technique employed a folk art style and had many autobiographical elements. She denied being a surrealist, saying that she always painted her reality. She created about 200 paintings, drawings, and sketches, of which 55 are self-portraits. Despite her constant pain, Frida continued to work. In 1938, Frida had a major exhibition in New York City and sold half of her paintings shown there. In 1939, she opened an exhibit in Paris, France. It was not as successful, but she did sell a painting to the Louvre Museum, making her the first Mexican artist to be featured in the museum. Her first solo exhibit in Mexico City was held in 1953. She was in so much pain that she was taken to the art gallery in an ambulance, and she welcomed her guests from a bed set up in the gallery. Frida died at the Casa Azul on July 13, 1954, of a pulmonary embolism. She was 47 years old. Frida achieved her greatest fame long after her death. The feminist movement of the 1970s renewed interest in her life and artwork. The Casa Azul was opened as a museum in 1958 and is one of the most popular museums in Mexico City. Frida became the first Hispanic woman to be featured on a U.S. postal stamp in 2001. In 2014, Frida was one of the inaugural honorees inducted in the Rainbow Honor Walk in San Francisco's Castro neighborhood. The Rainbow Honor Walk celebrates LGBTQ people who have made significant contributions to society. Chavela Vargas was born Isabel Vargas Lozano on April 17, 1919 in Costa Rica. She had a difficult childhood. Chavela's parents were deeply religious. They were ashamed of her because she was different and not like other girls. Her parents divorced when she was young, and since neither of them wanted to take care of her, they sent her to live with her aunt and uncle. Chavela began singing at age 8. She left home at age 17 to pursue a music career in Mexico. To support herself, she worked odd jobs and sang on the streets for many years. She was embraced by famous artists and musicians and sang at their parties. Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera invited her to the Casa Azul, and they became her close friends. Over time, Chavela became a professional singer. She was known for her renditions of Mexican ranchera songs and other Latin American music, using just her voice and her guitar. Uncomfortable in traditional female attire, she wore pants, which was unusual for women at the time. She performed in a red poncho with a revolver on her belt. She was well known for dressing as a man, smoking cigars, drinking heavily, and chasing women. She sang love songs written for men to sing to women, and she refused to change the pronouns. She caught the attention of famed ranchera singer-songwriter Jose Alfredo Jimenez, who would become her close friend and drinking buddy. He helped her record and release her first album. She eventually recorded over 80 albums and was a huge star known all over the world. She was very successful in the 1950s, 1960s, and early 1970s. Her famous friends included Betty Davis, Judy Garland, Grace Kelly, and Elizabeth Taylor. Chavela was known to have had several lesbian relationships. She usually protected her lovers' identities, but she did acknowledge having an affair with Frida Kahlo at the Casa Azul, and she claimed to have slept with actress Ava Gardner at Elizabeth Taylor's wedding. She continued to drink heavily, and as a result, she was no longer hired to sing in clubs. In the 1970s, Chavela faded into obscurity, and it was widely thought that she had died. Actually, she had met her longtime partner, Dr. Alicia Perez Duarte, who helped her stop drinking for good. Chavela made her comeback in 1991 when she was invited to perform at Bar El Habito in Mexico City. It was the first time she went on stage and performed sober. The concert was a huge success. She was invited to perform in Spain, where she met filmmaker Pedro Almodovar. In 2002, Chavela publicly came out at age 81 when she published her autobiography, And If You Want to Know About My Past. Her fans were not surprised because her music reflected queer love and heartbreak. With the assistance of Pedro Almodovar, Chavela made her debut at Carnegie Hall in New York City in 2003 at age 83. She continued to sing for audiences until her death. Chavela died on August 5, 2012, after a short illness. According to legend, her last words were, quote, "I leave with Mexico in my heart." In 2016, she was chosen to be one of the honorees inducted in the Rainbow Honor Walk in San Francisco's Castro neighborhood. Jose Julio Sarria, also known as the Absolute Empress I de San Francisco, was born December 13, 1922 in San Francisco, California. As a child, Jose spoke only Spanish until he was sent to a private school where he learned English. In high school, he learned German and French. He started dressing in girls' clothing at an early age, and his family indulged his preference for feminine attire. Jose also took voice and dance lessons. He intended to attend college to study for a teaching career, but after the attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, he was determined to enlist in the military. He was too short to meet the height requirement, but he was approved for service after seducing an Army major. He started his training in intelligence, then transferred to cooking school. He was assigned to the motor pool and served as an orderly for officers in Germany. He He was honorably discharged from the Army in 1947. Jose returned to San Francisco after leaving the service. He had planned to enroll in college to earn his teaching degree, but those plans were dashed when he was arrested for solicitation of sex. While trying to find other work, he entered a drag contest at a bar and won second place and a contract to perform at the bar for $50 a week. He also worked as a cocktail waiter at the Black Cat Bar, a hangout for the city's beat and bohemian clientele. He wore drag and sang arias from popular operas as he delivered drinks. Soon, Jose was performing 3 to 4 shows a night, billed as the Nightingale of Montgomery Street. The Black Cat was quickly becoming a fashionable gay bar. Jose encouraged the bar patrons to be themselves, saying, quote, "Why be ashamed of who you are? There's nothing wrong with being gay. The crime is being caught." Along with Guy Straight, who would start the first gay newspaper in San Francisco, Jose founded the League for Civil Education in 1960. The LCE provided support and education for gay men, especially those targeted in police raids. In response to the increased police harassment, Jose became the first openly gay man to run for public office in the United States when he ran for a position on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors in 1961. He did not win, but his community support showed that there was a strong gay constituency. Jose remained politically active and endorsed the candidacies of Harvey Milk, who finally won the San Francisco Board of Supervisors seat in 1977. Jose left San Francisco in 1996 and moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where he raised chickens and led a quiet life. He died on August 19, 2013. His drag-themed funeral was held in San Francisco, with over 1,000 mourners attending the service. Dignitaries included the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and Stuart Milk, Harvey Milk's nephew and the co-founder of the Harvey Milk Foundation. Jose was buried with full military honors. In 2016, he was chosen as an inductee for the Rainbow Honor Walk in San Francisco's Castro neighborhood. In 2019, Jose was one of the 50 inaugural honorees on the National LGBTQ Wall of Honor in the Stonewall National Monument in New York City's Stonewall Inn. The Stonewall National Monument is the first U.S. monument dedicated to LGBTQ rights in history. Sylvia Rivera was born on July 2, 1951 in New York City to Puerto Rican and Venezuelan parents. Her father abandoned Sylvia and her mother soon after Sylvia's birth. She was orphaned at 3 years old when her mother died of suicide. Sylvia went to live with her grandmother, who disapproved of Sylvia's effeminate behavior and the makeup she started wearing in 4th grade. Sylvia left home and started living on the streets in 1962 when she was only 10 years old. She was forced to work as a child prostitute. The local community of drag queens took her in and gave her the name of Sylvia. Sylvia became an activist in 1970 when she participated in the Gay Liberation Front's Drag Queen Caucus and the Gay Activist Alliance. Her older friend, Marsha P. Johnson, was her protector. In 1970, they co-founded Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, or STAR. STAR provided services for homeless LGBT youth. Marsha was widely praised for taking part in the Stonewall riots in 1969. Sylvia claimed that she was also there, and she even claimed that she had started the riots herself. Several credible witnesses have disproved her claims, saying that she was only 17 years old at the time and that she was actually at a party uptown, not at the Stonewall Inn. Sylvia did attend the 1973 Christopher Street Liberation Day rally, which was held on the 4th anniversary of the Stonewall Inn riots. At the rally, she gave her famous Gay Power speech. Sylvia left Manhattan in the mid-1970s after a falling out with Marsha. She moved to Tarrytown, New York, and started a catering business. She returned to New York City after receiving notification that Marsha had died. Sylvia was now homeless and living on the gay piers at the end of Christopher Street. She became an advocate for homeless members of the gay community. Her experiences with homelessness and substance abuse focused her advocacy on those who were left behind by mainstream society. Sylvia refused to conform to the gender norms of the time. The term transgender was not commonly used, and people who didn't fit the norms were called transvestites, transsexuals, or drag queens. As the struggle for gay rights progressed, Sylvia was left out of the movement she helped start. But her courage and determination were not unappreciated. She was called the Rosa Parks of the modern transgender movement. Sylvia died of liver cancer on February 19, 2002. Her legacy is extensive. The Sylvia Rivera Law Project provides legal services to LGBTQ people and, quote, guarantees that all people are free to self-determine gender identity and expression without facing harassment, discrimination, or violence. The Metropolitan Community Church in New York City, where Sylvia was an active member, has a food pantry named after her, and the youth shelter of the church is called Sylvia's Place. In 2005, the intersection of Christopher Street and Hudson Street in New York's Greenwich Village was renamed Sylvia Rivera Way. In 2015, a portrait of Sylvia, her longtime partner Julia Murray, and activist Christina Hayworth was installed in the National Portrait Gallery in Washington, D.C., making Sylvia the first transgender person to be included in the gallery's collection. In 2016, Sylvia was inducted into the Legacy Walk in Chicago and the Rainbow Honor Walk in San Francisco. In 2019, Sylvia was one of the 50 inaugural inductees on the National LGBTQ Wall of Honor in the Stonewall National Monument in New York City's Stonewall Inn. To know more, visit our website, gwinnettpl.org, to check out the following suggested items. A House of My Own, Stories from My Life by Sandra Cisneros. Fight Like a Girl, 50 Feminists Who Changed the World by Laura Barcelo. Frida Kahlo, 1907 to 1954, Pain and Passion by Andrea Kettenman. Queer There and Everywhere, 23 People Who Changed the World, and Rainbow Revolutionaries, 50 LGBTQ+ People Who Made History, both by Sarah Prager. Sylvia and Marcia Start a Revolution, the story of the trans women of color who made LGBTQ+ history by Joy Michael Ellison. Thank you for watching.